What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Wednesday's 10-game main slate. Hopefully, you tuned into yesterday's podcast because it kind of set the foundation for our guy, James Grande, here taken down. Was that the 27 single last night, James?
27 single,
the
yep.
27 single tournament, James there. First place, split somehow. Some man decided to build the exact same lineup.
Two others.
Two guys managed to build the exact same lineup as you, but the foundation of that lineup was broken down right here on this podcast and live stream. Go follow James on Twitter. You can check out the lineup or get in our Discord if you're not already. Sign up. That promo code down there is still valid. 50% off the first 6 months for all DFS sports, not just the NBA. MLB season's 2 weeks away. Get in on that action for us. Carry out through the winning, but you can go check out that winning lineup that James put together. You can go follow him on Twitter at @TheRealGrande, as you see on screen here as well. Check out the combination of what went down there. Spurs value, even though Spurs got blown out, Spurs value was enough to help you kind of put it over. Some top performances there from guys as well. No late night hammer exposure in that lineup. Had you sweating a little bit.
Yes, it did.
Thankfully, the Celtics blew out the Kings, and there weren't many points scored in that in that Clippers Thunder game. So congrats to you, man, on the takedown.
Thanks, man. I said it before we got on air, but like everything ran extremely great for me last night, and that's been the opposite, where I was on like an all-time streak of losing people to injuries.
You were tilting early. You tweeted too early from Bogdan, and you were like, here we go. Too early fouls for Bogdan. Like,
I mean, he did. Like, talk about like a free play, like starting lineup under 5K, best spot on the board potentially. Like, and then Trey also had 3 fouls going into half. Like, then he missed the last 2 minutes of the half. But like, things just happen to fall into place. Jonas Valanciunas, for no reason, started the fourth quarter up 30. Same thing with Trey Jones, which people were just sleeping at the wheel, not playing Trey Jones at 8% when
with no Keldon, no Vassell. Like,
they announced him the starter, and 18% of the field played Devontae Graham. Like, that was the pivot going to Trey Jones. And we talked about it yesterday, John, with Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley was limited, right?
Supposedly.
In his return. He played 30 minutes in a starting role.
Yeah.
Then there was no Jalen Duren last game. And I kind of said it yesterday in the podcast, like, Bagley is probably not going to be highly owned. People are just going to sleep on it. People are going to play the guards. Marvin Bagley played 41 minutes. James Wiseman was in massive foul trouble.
Yeah.
So that played a role. But Bagley also had 31 actual.
I would say an absolute ceiling monster game from Marvin Bagley.
So 12% Marvin Bagley really solidified the line. As John,
who was the spend up in that lineup?
So there was no like particular spend up. I thought Trae Young was the best play of the slate once DeJounte was rolled out. So I went Trae and I played Porzingis.
Yeah.
And
two guys were very high on him on the podcast. So
And Zinger went for 49 with Bradley Beal fouling out of that game. So, everything really broke my way. I was really, really surprised to see Trey Jones ownership the way it was. And I think that's where, that and Bagley really differentiated my lineups last night.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we've been talking about Trae Young just every slate, and he's on this slate again, back to back for him here. He's cheaper today again than he was yesterday. He's $9,400 again.
What is with this price?
I don't know.
With Trae Young?
But let me ask you, I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit here. Ja Morant is back against Houston at $9,200.
Right.
I mean, if there was ever a welcome back moment, it's Houston at home with Ja Morant at 92. We're going to break down all the positions. Obviously, we're going to get into some of the game spreads. We're just talking about narratives here. Morant coming back, thoughts on everything that's gone through there, and how popular do you think he's going to be because of his price, the matchup, and just sort of the narrative around him. He's back in the lineup.
Houston, you got a problem,
right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what to make of this because the return has been eligible since Monday, right?
Yeah.
But they listed him out for conditioning. So I don't know what that means. We know Ja can go crazy in 30 minutes. Like, we've seen it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
He's played the Rockets twice this year and has averaged 58 fantasy points in 28 minutes.
Right.
So, like, we
and
know
the
that there's a
the
steal.
last game against them, I think it was 48 fantasy points, right? Is that what it said there? Yeah, 43 fantasy points, which means the first game he went for like 80, I think. Quick scan down the chart. First game versus Houston, way back in the day.
Yeah,
second game of the season, he went for 73. 49 actual. So
that's pretty good in 31 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know, like, at this moment in time, I don't know what to think of Ja because, again, he could be limited. Like, Memphis could play him and Tyus in a split. They could ramp him up fast. Like, there's a lot of different scenarios. Like, Dylan Brooks is out tonight, right? They meet because he's suspended for another technical. There's a lot of things that are just kind of unknown about Memphis.
The weird thing for conditioning for me is, like, he wasn't hurt. He was just suspended. So, like, I don't know. I feel like
was he working out? But was he, like, he was reportedly checked into, like, a
I'm sure he was doing something. I mean, he wasn't gone that long that he got out of shape, I don't think, right? Like, he's not Zion. He's not out there just eating McDonald's every day, like.
No, it's not that I think he was, like, eating McDonald's, but, like, I don't know what being out for conditioning one game is, and then 2 days later, is your conditioning suddenly, like, back to where it was? Like, again, they could have just used that as, like, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. But I don't know. I think
they were home for that game too. So I mean, it's not like they wanted to wait for him to be home. I don't know. We'll get into it. There's a lot of good pricing on today's slate, or interesting pricing on guys. Generally, guys we think should be higher are kind of priced where they are. We have 10 games. We have all the stars. We could see Luka come back today. We got Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Lillard, Anthony Davis. Kyrie Irving is questionable. He's up over 10K as well. Like, the Suns, Lakers are on this slate. I mean, a lot of star power. Steph Curry's under 10K. If we're looking at just game totals here, give us a couple of the top game totals.
All right. So the worst game total, New York, Miami, has, I think, nobody, and Chicago, Philly, which we saw that game was a nightmare the other day.
Yeah.
There was overtime and James Harden's questionable and stuff. So, like, we might have interest there, but so something that you and I were talking about before we started recording, San Antonio on a back-to-back travels to Milwaukee. We don't know who's going to play. I assume, and you said the same thing to me, that everyone that was out yesterday probably plays today.
Yeah.
Like, Keldon had a neck. Vassell, left knee management. Zach Collins has not been playing back-to-backs. So, like, Jeremy Sohan. So, like, assuming the Spurs play everyone, I think that's even Vegas is. They're still 18-point dogs in Milwaukee tonight, which
Doesn't
is
it
definitely
feel like
the biggest.
They could cover that spread if all of those guys are playing.
I mean, yeah, you would think so.
It's a lot of points.
It is a ton of points.
I'm excited for them to go down like 15-4 to open the game, and next thing you know, they're like 30-point underdogs, and then we just take the points. Then we live bet it.
Yeah. I mean, it's significant. Like, that is, I think, the biggest spread that I've seen since we started this podcast. Since I remember.
I think I agree with you. Yeah.
So that is the most notable. 237 points, obviously a lot too in that game. 234 in Portland, Utah. That is going to be a very interesting matchup because Portland's already ruled out Grant and Simons. They've already come out and said that if they don't start winning, they're going to rest Damian Lillard for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Which is not good for my fantasy basketball team that's currently in the playoffs. So.
No, not good for your fantasy basketball team. But this is a winnable matchup, especially if Larry Markkinen sits. He's questionable, missed the last game. Clarkson's out, Sexton's out. So
Agbaji day.
Yeah, Agbaji team Agbaji for sure. 230 in that Memphis-Houston game. Memphis 13-point favorites in that one. welcome back John Morant. 234 is the live number in Indiana, Toronto. Toronto giving 9 at home. 234 in Dallas, Golden State. Golden State getting points on the road, John. Getting points on the road. We've been down this song and dance before. You called
it out the other day. I mean,
they did win by 13 in that game, but Şengün was ruled out, and it was competitive.
Close for a while.
It was competitive the entire game, and then the fourth quarter came.
Yeah, Steph. I don't think Steph had an actual point in the first quarter. I think he went 0 for 4 or something like that in the first.
He ended up having a huge game.
Yeah, I had him in my lineup at 9,800. So it kind of worked out at the end, but he was dog for a while.
And then slate high Atlanta, Minnesota, 241.5. Minnesota giving 4.5 on the road. That's interesting. That kind of return of Karl Anthony Towns likely today, John.
I forgot and Anthony Edwards potentially here tonight as well.
Yeah, right? And you know what? I think Edwards plays. He had that interview where he said if you're healthy enough to play. And I think we saw him in the walking boot, and then he immediately got out of the walking boot. It would not surprise me in the slightest bit to see Anthony Edwards play tonight.
How bad was the calf strain that Towns missed 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, it had to be, it had to be the worst calf strain.
Torn, right? They're torn,
right?
Like,
Yeah, I mean, no, there's no way couldn't get him at a better time because they need to win games to get
can't play him tonight, unfortunately, at $8,300. Also love that DraftKings never really lowered his price that much. So they just
I will say though, like full strength Towns, if we're gonna get him at 8,300, that's gonna be it's gonna be pretty nice if that's the.
We're gonna think he's gonna be limited. He's gonna play 35 minutes and then go for 80, and we're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
So yeah, all right, let's get into it. A lot to talk about here. We're gonna go position by position. Breaking down the top guys here. I'm going to go 9K and above because I think there's just a lot of interesting conversations to be had. Luka, Lillard, Irving are your top 3 guys over 10K. Irving, Harden, Halliburton, Trae Young, John Morant are your guys between 9 and 10. Halliburton is questionable. As you mentioned, James Harden is questionable. Kyrie Irving is questionable. Luka Doncic is questionable. Luka's been practicing but hasn't been playing. Kyrie Irving's dealing with some foot issues. He was seen in a walking boot after the last game, but it could have been precautionary reasons.
Right.
Then you mentioned Harden and Halliburton, both of them questionable, tougher spots. Chicago, Toronto. Then you got Steph Curry under 10K. You got Trae Young at 94. You got John Morant at 92. I mean, do you see a reason to play the top 3 guys at 10K when those other guards should all be 10K most likely?
So I don't disagree, but like so how about this? If one of Dallas sit out, the other one obviously looks great because Golden State fast-paced game, big total.
Ideally, you want Luka in, Kyrie out.
Yes. Ideally, that is correct. It's hard for me not to want to get to Lillard, just knowing. I know until they tell him to shut down, like he cannot turn it off.
Yeah.
Like that's just who he is. There's no Anthony Simons. There's no Jeremy Grant here.
Right.
It is an awesome matchup.
This is the return of 38 shot attempt Luka. I mean, it's 38 shot attempt Lillard here.
It is an awesome spot. Yeah. So, like, really hard for me not to get to Lillard. I'm trying to pull up the.
I wonder if he goes lower rostered because Ja and Trae are where they are.
And Steph. Like all of them just being where they are. I agree. So here's the numbers this year. Ready? If you, I just want you to take a stab at Damian Lillard's usage and fantasy points per minute this year without Jeremy Grant and Simons. It is a 320-minute sample. What do you think his usage and his fantasy point per minute average is?
44% usage, 2.1 fantasy points per minute.
Close. That would have been literally like I would play him right now, and I'm still considering it. 41% usage.
I knew it was over 40%. Yeah.
1.8 fantasy points per minute. Dude, if he plays 35 minutes, he might score 60 actual points tonight. Yeah. Like, there's just,
almost 2 fantasy points per minute is crazy because that's like 70 fantasy points. So,
dude, that is crazy, Pills.
Yeah, we don't see many guys with that kind of usage rate.
No, you don't. You don't.
Embiid, I think, or maybe had something close to that when last year. I think when Harden was on the lineup or something like that. But it was Not often do you see some crazy high usage rate like that. So yeah, listen,
But
I'm with you.
Right. But you're right about the next tier. It's like, how do you ignore this next tier?
I mean,
none of them, all of them are 10K plus players.
Trae Young on a back-to-back, okay, fine, maybe. But he only played 30 minutes last night.
Yep, and great, and like we always talk about, and great game environment.
Great. Right.
Amazing game environment. And do we know what if DeJounte sits, right? That's
the last time they had a back-to-back, 310, 311. He went for 60 fantasy points on the second night of the back-to-back, 35 and 13 against Boston. So
yeah, seems like he's gonna be just fine.
Seems like he's gonna be okay. Yeah, so not really concerned about the back-to-backs there with him. And great 9,400 is he's elite. Listen, we've had our problems with Trae Young at times during this season where we're like, he's just not doing enough of X. Well, right now he's doing it. Now he's doing it
right now. Yeah, he is right now.
So, like, yeah. But then you have Ja, who's averaging like 60 fantasy points in less than 30 minutes against Houston in his return game at 92. Now, you can probably play Lillard and one of these guys.
Right.
Because we're on a 10-game slate. We know there's going to be some value. It's unfortunate that both of them are point guard only, so you're eating your guard and your point guard spot up here. But, you can probably make a lineup work with two. Yep. If you had to pick
probably
two,
do three.
You would love to pick three. I don't think you can do it though. You played Lillard, Trae, and Ja, I guess. In that,
I would do the first two that you just mentioned. That would be my two.
Lillard and Trae. Lillard and Trae are 5K a play. Definitely can make it work. If you added Ja, you're at 4K a play. So you can do Lillard and Trae Young and make it work. There's definitely some under 5K players on this slate that we're going to be touting, especially maybe in that Utah game, right? Some value down there. So, all right, so that's your tier, right? Like, if Kyrie's out, Luka can go for 70. That's fine against Golden State, especially since they're playing Christian Wood now. Good on them. So
yeah, good on them. That's true.
We love Dame. I agree with you. That usage rate's insane. Kyrie's maybe my least favorite of the group. Not Kyrie.
Probably.
Irving is my least favorite of the group. I said Kyrie Irving. Curry. I'm reading a name, and I said it wrong twice. I said the first name and then the second, and then the last name.
That is so funny.
Steph
you are so
Curry
funny.
is probably my least favorite of that group. Nothing to knock on Steph, just they're on the road. He's more expensive than those other guys, and you can probably get up to Lillard from Steph maneuvering some lineups around.
It is still worth mentioning that he is under 10K though.
I agree.
Like that is noteworthy. Anytime Steph Curry's under
more contrarianness
Agreed.
Of that. All right, let's go down. Let's get out of the 9K range before I keep on mispronouncing names here. Van Vliet's at $8,600, just as likely as anybody else to pop off and break the slate. Got a great matchup for him too, opposite there of the Pacers. We didn't talk about Harden or Halliburton in that tier. If they're active, do you like them more or less than any of them? No? Okay.
I like them literally. I mean, Harden had his bad game of the month, right? Last time out. He does that once a month where he goes like 2 of whatever. Got that out of the way, but I don't. It's slow. Yep. Chicago, John, is number 1 in defensive rating since the All-Star break.
Okay. Okay. Last time we saw Halliburton, though, 71 and 62 fantasy points.
No, great, but like
Toronto.
brutal matchup.
I agree. So Van Vliet's at 86. KPJ gets that Memphis matchup. We've been liking him. Hasn't hit 40 fantasy points the last 3 games, so maybe a little bit overpriced at the moment there. DeJounte was questionable. Drew Holiday, hard to trust anybody in Milwaukee when there's an 18-point spread going on in that game. You got Jamal Murray, though, at under 8K here against Washington. I like that. That's another guy that's been pretty underpriced most of this season, feels like.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I didn't mention that game in the Vegas odds. Let's see what we got. 227 is solid. Denver 7-point favorites. Like, I think Kuzma should be back here. I think we saw him resting on the front end of a back-to-back. I think Washington has good enough team to keep this close. Denver hasn't been, like, amazing lately.
No, they're not a good road team either, right? So
yeah, I mean, Jamal Murray been pretty consistent pretty much all year. Like, he's just seemingly back, and he would be probably a 27, 28-point scorer a game if Nikola Jokic didn't exist in the world.
Right. Chris Paul, great price, $7,600.
Dude, Jalen Brunson, what the?
I know. Well, it's against Miami, but also
I know, but like, dude.
But also, yeah. I know.
Like, I get it.
He did just go for 44 fantasy points against Miami in Miami.
Dude, I know it's Miami, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
He went for 45 in a game that Julius Randle had 25 third quarter points, had 57 actual.
57 actual, yeah.
And he still went for 45.
That's why he had all those assists. Those 10 assists were because Julius Randle hit every shot he took in that game. You know who else who hit every shot he took in that game? Taurean Prince.
Yep, sure.
God damn. 8 threes in that game. Good job, Taurean.
Now
he goes back to the bench because Towns and Edwards is back. So
I was going to say Minnesota should bring Edwards and Towns off the bench. They know what they have in Taurean Prince.
Should have looked to trade them. They have Taurean Prince.
yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Jalen Brunson, $7,300 makes no damn sense.
I didn't mean to poo-poo your Chris Paul.
No, dude. I was gonna get to Brunson in a moment because that's outrageous. But I mean, Chris Paul at 76, him and Booker running the okie doke right now.
Yep.
You know, it was 51 fantasy points the other day.
I think Ayton is out. I believe, or he's out already.
Yep.
So
Anthony Davis against Jock Lundale tonight, maybe Bismack Biyombo, right? So
they started. I think they started Biz.
Yeah.
But he only played 20 minutes. Landale's the better fantasy point per minute guy anyway. I will argue this to the end of time. Yeah. But they also just didn't play like anyone any minutes. So like whoever AD goes up against, he's gonna demolish.
Yeah. But CB3, great price point here for him.
Agreed.
Jalen Green, we'll talk about a shooting guard. Maxey, can't do. I mean, Tyus at 66, too risky now.
Too risky.
Conley had a ceiling game because again, nobody missed shots in that game for Minnesota.
Dude, what a sharp play Conley was the other day for the 5%. I looked 5% of the field played him.
And listen, we love point guards versus Knicks. Always been a great play. No Anthony Edwards.
Oh, I know. What a miss. I know, like,
2 of the last 3 games, he's gone for 50 plus fantasy points. Do you think Mike Conley's got it in his bag tonight if Edwards comes back or no?
No, because Towns is also there. I know Towns is going to definitely be limited, but like just so much fewer shots to go around for everyone else with Towns and Edwards back.
We're watching Austin Reeves develop into a star before our eyes. I don't know.
Dude, holy cow. I cannot believe he scored. I cannot believe that game. And then did you see he talked about his tweet about LeBron?
No.
Did you ever see that tweet? When he was like 12 years old, he put out a tweet about like something about like not having rings because he was a Kobe guy. And he was like making fun of LeBron, and they like talked about it. Like when he sat at the presser, he was like, yeah, it's crazy that LeBron embraces me after I sent out that tweet when I was 12. But I thought that was funny.
I don't know if we can play Austin Reeves at $6,400.
No.
I put last week using my playbook at like 42. So like,
yeah, he's been awesome. Yeah. Like no doubt he's been awesome. Good for Austin Reeves.
Good for Austin
not
Reeves.
playing at 6,400.
Good for Chris Dunn, who didn't miss a shot the other day against Sacramento.
Yep.
Just 18 and 10 there in that game. 4,200. He's 58.
Again, it's like he was 30%, and I think he's going to be in the rotation, but you have to understand that when you look at the minutes, him and Talen Horton-Tucker played 51 minutes. An NBA position, per position, it's 48 minutes. They basically split the time. Yes, they played 3 minutes together, but they're basically just splitting time.
Yeah, Talen Horton-Tucker,
they're one player. Talen Horton-Tucker just was in massive foul trouble. So if you want to go to Chris Dunn, 58, just be ready for 20 to 24 minutes if Talen Horton-Tucker doesn't get in foul trouble.
So we theorized that those who were out yesterday for San Antonio would be in today. Well, they had all 3 of their guards active for yesterday's game. So
you're saying they have to play one of them?
I mean, unless they rule them all out, we got like Blake Wesley starting tonight.
True.
Trey Jones 57, Brandon 55, Graham 5K. Play who starts, I guess. Play whoever starts.
Play who starts. Yep, play who starts. Graham Jones is the highest usage guy. Graham is, I think, probably the best value of the 3.
Yeah.
I think he has a higher ceiling than Brandon, but Brandon also has the best eligibility. He has multi-position eligibility, so you could play any of them, whoever's active.
Monty Morris last night went for 29 fantasy points. He played 32 minutes in that game.
Yep, love that. Revenge
game here against Denver. Against Denver, one game this season, he scored 20 actual in that game. So
true.
I'm sure
I don't hate it.
Beal probably in that game, but $4,600 for 30 minutes of Monty Morris is pretty good.
Yeah, I want someone to be out. I think it helps when like Kuzma, Porzingis are out.
Okay.
So if we don't get Kuzma in the lineup, I would be more inclined to get there. Also, we just got to shout out Jaden Hardy again. If both those Dallas guards are out, like he played. Did you see 19 minutes, dude? He is such a bucket. I cannot wait till he gets like regular playing time. 20 actual points in 19 minutes last time out.
They should be playing him over Reggie Bullock. So
yes, well, they can't now. They don't have any wing defenders.
Yeah,
they have to play Reggie Bullock.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
They should play him over THJ. That's who they should be playing him over.
They're paying THJ too much money.
That's also true. Well, they should never pay THJ the money.
I'm just saying what's happening there.
Different discussion, yeah.
Kyle Lowry, 25 minutes off the bench at 3,900.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Right?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Just like, what does he get? 36 minutes in his return off the bench. And he played 19 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I guess if we could figure out, what he's gonna play, I guess, but the price is good. It's a good matchup too. Like,
they're still starting Gabe Vincent, so
yeah.
Don't assume he's gonna be in the starting lineup because he's probably not going to be. But yeah, I think he's fine.
Yeah, just if you're looking for a cheap play, there's some potential. Who plays with no Anthony? That
was exact good question.
Is it Reddish already playing, right?
Reddish. So they started Reddish last game, and he was horrible. Didn't score. He basically just rode the bench the whole game. Shaedon Sharp, I would assume gets a lot of run. Here's my guess at the starting lineup. My guess is going to be Lillard, Sharp, Reddish, Watford, and Nurkic. That would be my guess.
I picked up in Watford in seasonal league. Watford's been balling.
They didn't start him last game, and I don't know why, because they had started him and played like 40 minutes to 2 games prior. I assume
he still played 29 minutes off the bench in that game.
Right. I assume they go back to that, but I think Sharp might start here, and if they don't start Sharp, they do like a Reddish, Thibault starting lineup, which we've seen before too. Yep. So I think 2 of Reddish, Thibault, Sharp start, maybe all 3, and they bring Watford off the bench again. I don't know, but Sharp. If Sharp is starting, I have interest at 3,600.
Yep, I agree with you. All right, shooting guard here. Booker's at $9,900 against the Lakers. Anthony Edwards at $9K. Bradley Beal at $85. Zach LaVine at $82. Your top 4 guys there.
I mean, Booker's outside of the Orlando game has been really good scoring the basketball.
46 actual last time.
Yeah, he's crazy. And there's no DeAndre Ayton here again. Wouldn't surprise me for him to go for 40 again. So I'm okay getting to Booker. I'm okay getting to Beal if there's no Kuzma.
Where does Booker rank for you with the other point guards that we talked about, right? Like, I mean, you can't play all these 9K guys. So does Booker, Trae Young, John Morant, Steph Curry, do you put him over any of those guys?
I mean, I think I'm a little less bullish on Ja than you are, because we just don't know, and that could change. Like if they come out and they say there's no limit on Ja, like that changes everything. Like that Ja is like an elite play in all formats. If there's no limit, I just don't know what to think of the situation. He's probably on par with like Curry for me. Like they're contrarian tournament plays. That's how I would view. No one's gonna play Devin Booker at 9,900.
Yeah.
So like I think if you want to get to Booker, I don't think you can get to Beal at 85. I know he let us down yesterday, and I'm not saying it because of that. But if Kuzma's back, like, I don't know, 8,500, like, yeah, there's upside because it's Bradley Beal, but, like, doesn't feel as good with Beal.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm 100% in agreement with you. Levine's at $8,200 against Philly, coming off a decent matchup, decent performance against them. Granted, overtime game, got to take that into consideration, but he's been him and DDR have been really good for the past like month, basically.
Yeah, they have.
They have. Strong there. It'll be interesting to see if DeJounte Murray comes back. He's an interesting one because they don't really move his price tag, even though he hasn't really been performing to his price level. So I'm probably out on him, even if active, unless they sit somebody like a Trae Young. Bench gets benched there. Bane with Morant back, probably not gonna pay the 76 for him personally.
Nope.
Russell's at 75. We didn't talk about him at point guard. I don't know if you like that against the Lakers. They are Talon Horton Tucker 72. Looks like he's in the lineup here tonight as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like both their eligibilities. I like Horton Tucker a little more because he has the shooting guard small forward, and that's goated. But nothing really jumps off the page with either of those guys. I think Horton Tucker, because I think the matchup's a little better.
Yeah.
Not to say Russell's is bad, but like Portland and Utah is a slop fest.
Yeah, 100%. Scotty Barnes out today?
He is questionable. Okay. I know he missed practice yesterday. He left that game, missed practice, and they list him questionable. They said it's not injury and it's not a shooting risk, so or not serious and it's a shooting risk, but like, you never know. It's a risk, so
have to see what that starting lineup looks like.
Yep,
if he's out for sure.
But if are you mentioning that because we're at 6,400 OGs here and then Gary Trent's 52?
Yeah, basically.
Because Gary Trent's been pretty good lately.
Yeah, Gary Trent's been good off the bench.
We know that Gary Trent is like very usable when he's.
I mean, who's coming off the floor for him now that he's playing off the bench 35, 30, and 33 minutes? Is it Pirtle?
Yeah, Pirtle hasn't been playing the 35 minutes he was playing.
So,
but also like last game so Pirtle had played less than 33 straight, but then he played 30 because they lost Scotty Barnes. So now it's like, okay, now Pirtle's back to playing 30.
Right.
So if there's no Scotty Barnes, they're just going to insert
Gary Trent and play Pirtle.
And
they'll have like an actual starting lineup out there where guys are slotted correctly, you mean? That's what they're going to do?
Yep, that's might be.
So, yeah, I think both of those Raptors are interesting here with if Scotty Barnes ends up being ruled out. I like that. Hero at 68 I like as well. Always just kind of a guy that can pop off, especially against the Knicks. I know we talk about the really low game total, so we don't want too much exposure to this one, but I like Tyler Hero.
He's fine.
More Knicks. Hart's playing a lot of minutes still. Price is kind of on the rise on him, $5,900. Can do. Anybody else down here for you? Melton went nutty the other day. Who
he did. Harden was horrible. He just had
back-to-back good games for Melton, actually, 41 and 40.
And Harden's
10 steals in the 2 games for
this is the D'Anthony Melton experience right there.
Yeah.
We've been saying that since Memphis. I mean, I think he's fine. And if Harden sits, he's not the forgotten man, but like everyone's just so quick to pivot to Maxey and Embiid. And then Tobias and Melton are always the 2 guys that like people don't pivot to.
Yeah.
So I would have interest in D'Anthony Melton. We didn't mention Maxey, but I would have interest in Maxey, obviously, too.
Big sad. DraftKings realized that Agbaji was down there.
Oh, he's 5K, John.
5K Agbaji.
Listen, okay. The condition is that we play him is Markkanen has to be out. Even then, it's like,
Yeah.
That doesn't feel great.
I mean, listen.
That doesn't feel great.
Doesn't feel great.
5K is a very expensive price tag.
It is. I mean, Kispert's up to 5K as well.
It's not great.
That seems like all of our freebie guys are getting the bump there. Reddish is 45, so we'll probably play some Cam Reddish if he starts.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to score 0 points again. That's super exciting.
It's gross. Grayson Allen's back.
I know Kobe White let you down big time the other night.
Yeah, Kobe White did let me down. Well, sort of. He only let me down because if I played Torian Prince, I would have won the 27 single that night if I played Torian Prince.
Right.
Listen, he was fine. He played the minutes. That's what I care about.
Yep.
So if Caruso is out again, do we know if he is or not?
I believe he is listed questionable per every slate this year.
Sure.
He's questionable. Yeah. He was in a walking boot.
Okay.
So like I said it on Monday, I think Monday's podcast. I don't think he plays because, last time we saw him, he was in a walking boot, but we'll see. Caruso's been dealing with injuries all year. Again, we talked about it with Kyrie. Maybe it's just for
if Caruso's out again, and we may know it's an 8:00 start time, then I'll play Kobe White again. It's 3,600.
Yeah, man. The minutes are good.
Well, that's what it is. It's the minutes, and we know that he's the guy that can shoot. Like he's not terrified of doing so. So,
right.
That's fine. Jalen Noel popped the other day, but again, everybody did on Minnesota. So Can't trust it. What did AJ Griffin do last night? 18
He played
minutes?
18 minutes. I think that was the key, we should probably is Bogey
Bogdan's
here.
54. Bogdan's 54.
So if Murray's out, I assume they just go back. We have the sample of last night. So Bogdanovic probably would even play more because there was a blowout. You know what's funny too? AJ Griffin didn't even get the blowout run. They didn't even think of giving. They took him off the floor. So I don't know what that says about their feelings towards AJ Griffin, but they don't think he's a blowout run player. So when is he gonna play? So I don't think there's really a condition unless two guys were ruled out.
Right.
Sadiq Bey also went nuts for them. So
let's see here. Dylan Brooks. Who played with Dylan Brooks out the other day?
So they've done
because Concher's 31.
Kennard's
25.
Kennard has played a bunch of minutes.
Yeah.
We talked about it the other day. He played another 25 minutes in that Dallas game, John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Kennard could start.
Okay.
Here.
Would you play Kennard if he starts?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would. He's played 20 plus minutes in 4 straight games. 3 of 4, he's gone for 22 plus fantasy points, and he's shown a 28-point ceiling twice. If he got us 28 fantasy points at 3,800, that's elite.
Do we think we play whoever starts there? If it's Concher, if it's Roddy, if it's Kennard, we just plug in the starting forward because Brooks is a small forward for them, right? Bane's shooting guard.
Yeah. Brooks starts at small forward. Probably. Concher.
We've seen Concher break slates before, right? He's a really good rebounding forward. So
and when he rebounds and makes threes, you get those 10 and 9 with 2 steal games. You're like, oh, this right. I think we could just play whoever starts. I would not be surprised if it was Roddy. I think that's a good call. I would also not be surprised. They've all just kind of been playing the same minutes. Kennard's just played a little bit more than both of them. So
I'm just trying to find what was the game that he was suspended for. Can we find that?
Yes. Yep, I'll find it.
I'm trying to see here. When was he suspended?
I'm pulling it up on Basketball Reference right now.
Okay.
So the last game he was suspended for was the Clippers on the 5th. And they played, so they started Roddy.
Okay.
He played 25 minutes. Kennard played 28 off the bench.
Okay.
So the split between the 3 guys in question was in order of minutes. Kennard played 28. Roddy played 25. Concher played 20.
Was anybody else out of that game for them?
Yes.
No Ja, obviously.
But so Tyus will. So they could obviously do a lineup where they're playing
Tyus,
Bane, but that's small, especially when you're already considering Tillman as their starting center. As you mentioned a whole bunch of times, Tillman is a small center to begin with. So look, Roddy 25 minutes is encouraging. Kennard 28 minutes encouraging. I think those 2 would be my lean.
Sure. If you had to pick one, do you trust Kennard more than Roddy?
Yes, based on current form for Kennard, and I think his ability to space the floor lately is only going to benefit from Ja being there too.
Sure.
Collapsing defenses, Kennard's just going to be open.
Okay.
So I still lean Kennard, but I don't hate Roddy, who's cheaper, especially because we saw him start in this kind of same exact scenario.
Yep. All right, let's go small forward here. You're a lot of injury designations here in these top 4 guys here. Markkanen is $9,100. We'll see if he's in or out. If he's in, we know what we need to get out of him. At least the price is coming down though. It's $9,100 now.
Yeah, I like that.
So certainly coming into a little bit more reason. Anthony Edwards, the dual eligibility at $9K. DDR at 8,700. Just saw him in this matchup. 46 minutes, gave you 45 fantasy points. Played 41 against Miami at 53. Played 52 in double overtime against Minnesota at 80. We're just getting crazy DeMar DeRozan production right now. So certainly fine. Butler, I know we talk about it.
8,400.
I know we talk about this spread and the pace and all that in this game here, but
we like too many pieces from this game.
I very much like Butler at the very least.
I know, me too.
I feel like buckets is going to get himself into a lineup of mine here.
Yeah, it's a good price. That's a great
forward,
price.
Right? What did we have there? We had Lillard, Trey, Butler. That's 4,400 a player. We throw in like Kennard, and we might be able to sneak in a Trey Young, Dame Lillard, Jimmy Butler lineup. We'll keep building. We'll see what we got going on down here. Butler 84, love it, absolutely love it.
Yep.
I don't know about this mid-tier range. I guess you probably like Kuzma if he's active. I don't really care for Middleton Keldon personally.
Keldon's priced out if he has a team to himself, I'm okay with it.
I just don't like the match.
But like, yeah, the matchup is terrible. No, but the matchup is terrible. Yeah. Kuzma's fine. It's a good price for Kuzma. Clay $7,000.
Kyle
really
Anderson $7K, but I guess if everybody's back, probably not.
Everyone back. Yeah, no.
Gets him down.
Clay $7K stands out a lot to me.
He's been in this price range for a little bit though.
I know, but like, he should have been in this price range to begin with.
I agree.
That's a good price tag.
Yep. Ceiling game from our boy MPJ the other day, but probably hard to trust that to repeat itself. If no Şengün, right back to the Easton Monster. He was 77% rostered.
Yeah, he was. He was.
27 single at 4,400.
Sure was.
Immediately boosted to $6,100. So
good.
Because you had to at least think about it then. If Şengün's out, do you pay 61?
I think Şengün is active. I think he's like off the injury report.
Okay, perfect.
I think he's fully off the injury report. So we're not playing him.
The reason I made my run, and even though it faded a little bit there at the end, was able to still make the money in that contest was Jabari Smith. Nobody played him when Şengün was out, and he gave you another double-double. Like, that's been the trend with him. Şengün out, double-double Jabari. Easton 61 probably too expensive, as we talked about. Hart, Barrett. RJ Barrett down to $5,800, but again, Miami. Got to stop talking about that game, I guess. Josh Okogie at 55.
The minutes kind of suffered last game. There was foul trouble, I guess, so we'll give him a reprieve there. Yeah, he's okay.
Okay. Talk about Bogdan. Denny go back to the bench.
Kuzma's on. We don't have anything official on Kuzma, so we'll have to wait. He's dealing with. Okay, so here we go. Wizards coach Wes Unseld said that Kuzma is, quote, dealing with a pretty significant ankle sprain.
Okay.
So if Kuzma doesn't play, Denny was awesome last night.
He rebounds, man, right? Like it's
he does. And it was very annoying for a Porzingis roster because Porzingis didn't grab any rebounds.
Back-to-back double-digit rebound games for Denny here. So,
he's gonna come off the bench.
Because Kuzma left that game with the injury, right, against Sacramento, right?
Yep, left the game 2 games ago. Yep.
Yeah. So you see Denny get the minutes, he gets the rebounds. DeAndre 153, I still like to play here. We talked about Gary Trent already, going to be a plug and play if there's no Barnes for us here. Ben Mather in a tough spot at 51. Let's see here. Where do we go? What did New Orleans?
Minutes? Fontecchio is interesting to me because 4,500 is obviously not a great price for a guy that we haven't had like a big sample on.
Yeah.
But he was 4 for 13 from the floor, 4 for 10 from 3. I love the 10 threes. I love the 33 minutes. I don't think anyone goes back to the well at 4,500. So like,
okay,
possibly, but I think, and I know Sadiq only played 20 minutes last night, but gosh dang, man, 14 and 11 and 20 minutes off the bench. If there's
revenge game, we should have seen it coming.
Yeah, they should have. And if there's no DeJounte, like I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Yep. If Tybalt starts, would you play him?
Yeah. Just such a low floor.
I know.
It's
not.
It is just the lowest of floors. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Probably not.
Power forward here. Giannis and an 18-point spread at 11-8.
I cannot believe it's 18. Like I can believe it, but like crazy.
Yeah, clear cut top price guy here at this position. I don't know if anybody will play him because of that point spread. So,
you want me to pull up? Want me to see if we can pull up some early ownership?
Sure.
See what
I would be. I don't know. I feel like if it's 18 points, people are gonna be like, "There's no way he plays more than 25 minutes," and you just like get scared off.
I don't disagree. I am curious at what you said. Like, what is?
Yeah.
I don't think
Zinger still
play.
$8,900 after last night there. Jaren Jackson at home against Houston at 79.
Yeah, that's good. Tournaments. Giannis is getting no ownership.
Yeah, told you.
None.
Everybody would see that spread and just be afraid. So
none.
If Markkanen sits, Kelly Oman back-to-back double-doubles, nearly triple-double.
If Markkanen's in,
$1,000 price bump on him though. He's $6,700 now. So
still a good play.
Yeah, still a good play. I agree with you. Not going to do Jabari with Şengün back.
Nope.
Aaron Gordon, Bobby Poe narrative play 6,100.
What is the narrative? Oh, like the blowout. And he's trying to win 6 Man of the Year.
Yeah. He feels like a guy that would get the second unit run.
Yeah, I don't hate it. 61 feels tough to get to on the slate that we're like basically double spending up on.
Sure.
But I don't hate it.
That's fair. Sohan's 56.
John Collins 52 feels pretty good.
Yeah, man. Listen, we've been talking about it now for a little bit. He's been really good.
He's been very productive.
I'm in. I like John Collins a lot here. Minnesota. Not too worried. We like the pace in that game. So, if nobody comes back, you run right back to Torian here at 49.
Yeah.
No shot. He goes 12 of 13 again.
None. Zero chance.
That guy had a cheat. Mike special stuff.
Dude, he did.
Wearing the Jordan shoes.
Wearing the
just crazy. Like Mike moment there for Torian Prince. Anybody else down here for you?
I'm trying to figure out what the Raptors would do. Like, would they give Boucher more minutes? Like who? They could give Will
someone's
Barton.
got to play more, right?
Would it be Boucher? Could it be Boucher?
We want it to be Boucher.
He's so cheap.
I know.
He's such a good fantasy producer.
You can't. But here's the thing: even if Barnes is out, you can't rely that they're not just going to give
I
everyone.
know.
40, right?
I know.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I want it to be Boucher. I know.
You can't play it. All right, let's go center. Embiid 11-7, Jokic at 11-5. Jokic obviously in the just smash of smash spots here.
But Embiid could be without Harden.
Yeah, but I don't know. He still got
Harden. No Harden. Dude, he had 37 and 16 in a game that Harden went 2 of 12. I know what you're saying. I know. I'm not I don't like the spot either because Chicago.
I guess I'll say Jokic is gonna triple double, right? Most likely.
Yeah,
but Embiid could go for 50 and 15.
Yeah.
So,
Jokic triple double could be 15, 11, and 13, and nobody would be surprised. And Embiid could go if Harden sits, actually go for 50 and 15, like you just mentioned.
Right. So then it's
you need.
That's kind of where I am. Kind of where I'm at. Right. So. But if Jokic scores, I mean, he's going up against Daniel Gafford, and then he's going up against Kristaps Porzingis.
Dude, I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna be.
He went for 82 against Washington earlier this year.
I'm not gonna be
14 and 8.
That's pretty good. I'm not gonna be a Twitter troll that just sit on Twitter all day and debate Harden or debate. NBA Twitter is literally just Embiid versus Jokic. There's nothing else going on. That's the entire debate. That's the entire segment of every ESPN show. Every time filler is Jokic versus Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to do that. They're both elite plays. I'm just saying, if there's no Harden, it's really, really hard to ignore Embiid. And it's also I prefer Embiid if Harden's out. I prefer Jokic if Harden's in.
Sure.
How about that? That's where I'm going to draw the line in the sand for me personally.
And we just had that entire conversation without talking about Anthony Davis to $10,400.
Correct. And Anthony Davis could be better than all of them, even though he's been a little lately.
Sure.
But there is a price decrease, which we like.
10-4. He did. He went for 58 against the Pelicans. 35.
I wonder if the foot is bothering him a little bit because like literally playing with a stress fracture in his foot.
Yeah.
Right. Like
he's had 3 days off. So
yeah, I'm just saying. Like I wonder like in a competitive game, I know like 2 of the last 3 games he's playing less than normal. Right. Like I wonder if he is kind of dealing with the injury.
All right, so take these 3 centers and then take the 3 guards we talked about with Lillard, Trey, and Ja. If we had to play 2 of them, are you mixing in either of these centers with either of those guards? So we still like Dame more
Let's
than
talk about the rest.
Davis?
Well, I don't know because let's talk about the rest of the center and then we could revisit that because like there might be somebody down here that is just like smash, right?
Yep. I mean, I guess I go down to probably Gobert's the next center I would look at, but Towns could come back, so I don't know.
Yeah, Towns. Yeah.
Walker Kessler obviously in the smash spot, especially if Markkanen is out.
Yep.
At $7,200, Jakob Poeltl if there's no Barnes, we think he's going to play 30.
That's a great spot. Yeah, that's a good one.
Great spot. I just don't know what to do with Şengün at this point. He's been really good lately. Is he worth $6,800 right now? No, I mean,
he just needs to stay out of foul trouble.
Good spot against Tillman there. Christian Wood's been playing a bunch of minutes, but does that change at all if Irving and Luka are back?
Right.
It shouldn't. They don't play the same position, but
it's just the minute they're like we need offense from somebody.
But he's been really good. He's $6,700. Zach Collins will be back, but that's a kind of a blowout.
Nurk?
Are they forced to play Nurkic more minutes here?
I don't know if they're forced to play him more minutes, but they're forced to use him more.
Sure.
I think. Right? Like they're just like, how can they? So in the same thing I asked you about Lillard earlier, I'll just tell you, 28% usage for Nurkic, 1.24 fantasy points a minute. They're the only 2 over a fantasy point per minute. Like this is the Lillard Nurkic show. So 6,200 is a really good price. Very tough matchup against blocker Kessler.
Good nickname for him. Is that your nickname or his actual nickname?
I just kind of threw that out there.
I like it. I like it.
Okay, cool. Hopefully it was coined today.
Just start tweeting about it. Like blocker
Kessler.
Yeah, blocker Kessler tonight.
So like, tough spot, but like 6,200 is a great price. If you were to tell me, like, if you could see the future and you saw that Yusuf Nurkic was playing 30 minutes, you couldn't see the stat line, but you saw 30 minutes, I would play him.
I agree. I'm with you. So 6,200 is a great spot. I'm with you. Capella played a lot of minutes last night recently, last 2 games, 28, 25, more than he's was seeing before, the low 20s. I don't know if they need to put him out there against that bigger front court. $5,600 for him there. Looney and Draymond are both questionable. Is that right?
I think they're both probable.
Green is probable. Yeah. Is Looney probable? Both are probable. So
yeah. They've both been probable the last couple of slates.
They just won't give Looney the minutes he needs, man.
Yep.
Another double in 24 minutes against Houston, but they just feel the need to do it.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I think it's tough for them because they also have Kuminga playing really well right now. So, Yep.
I mean, Xavier Tillman only played 26 minutes. I don't know if that had to do with Aldama just going nutty, but Jaren Jackson was also in foul trouble.
It wasn't. I think it was just them going a different direction.
Yeah. Yep.
They've been playing Kenneth Lofton.
Okay.
I believe they've been playing Kenneth Lofton. I think he's been checking in as the backup center.
Mitch Rob down to 46. That's crazy.
He just doesn't do it. Like it is crazy.
They're not even playing him as much as anymore either. So
yeah. Would you play Sandro at 51 if Zach Collins didn't play?
Mm-hmm.
Which I assume he's going to. That's not me saying I think Sandro he's not going to play, but
I mean, if he gets a blowout minutes, right? But he's $5,100 now, so
I know that's why I asked. He's 51. Like he didn't get blowout run last night.
Yeah,
that's a Zach Collins contingent.
Any Hartenstein interest at 3,700? Over 20 minutes in 4 straight games.
Yeah, he's kind of
crazy good rebounds. And he's just two games he didn't score a single point and had over 20 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think he's fine. And the same thing goes for Bismack. Like he's fine. Sure. Bismack's going to start and play probably 20 minutes and split time between 3 centers.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
Precious, by the way, played 20 minutes in that Milwaukee game.
Interesting, and Barnes left
Yep.
in that game. So,
Yep.
So back to your original question.
Yep. Because now we have to build a lineup.
I would probably still stay on the 2 guards.
Okay. So we're gonna go Nurkic at center then?
What do you think? Do you like Nurkic 62?
Yeah.
I mean, the price tag really stands out, right?
I have no problem with it because, like you said, they're down 2 guys.
They have 2 guys tonight that realistically are going to be.
And he played 25 and 20. He's played 28, 25, and 27 minutes. So it's not like he hasn't been out there like he was when he played 10 or 17, right? Like he's been on the floor.
So you want to hear as of this recording, the top 4 projected rostered players, John?
Sure.
And we're going to obviously, things are going to obviously change from now until then. But David Roddy is garnering the most ownership.
Okay.
Lillard is 2nd, Reddish is 3rd, and Nurkic is 4th.
Okay. We kind of like that anyways. So
all guys that we've kind of extensively talked about.
So we have let's see here. Let's just get a little interesting. All right, so if we did Lillard, Reddish, Butler, Roddy, Nurkic, Trae Young, we'd have $3,900 a player for forward and utility. Did we have another punt? We liked Kennard, right?
Yeah, Kennard or Roddy.
Well, we played them both.
Oh, right. Yeah, play both.
Probably a little bit too tough to get to. Probably need to take Butler out, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably.
So we take out Butler. We don't double up Roddy, Kennard.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Lillard, Reddish, Roddy, Nurkic, Trae Young is $5,400 a player for 2 forwards and a utility because Roddy can play both. So
2 forwards.
And Reddish can actually play forward as well. So we could have a shooting guard, forwards or utility, 54 a play. So do we have any other under 5K guys that we liked here?
I'm looking.
Kind of dependent on guys being in or out. Fontecchio,
yeah,
45.
Man. Yeah, that's so pricey for a guy that
Aldama. I still think is kind of interesting at 42, even with.
Yeah, they've gone with him at anywhere from small forward to center this year. So
yeah, I don't mind Aldama in that spot. But a lot of our cheap guys from past matchups, they've bumped on us here. Mm-hmm. You want to do John Collins at 52?
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. He's been very consistent.
So we'll move Roddy to small forward, Collins to power forward.
So what does that give us? 55?
55 for a forward and a util, or a shooting guard and a util. So
Gary Trent, 52.
Yeah, I like that. So we'll move Trent to shooting guard, Reddish to forward, and that is a $5,800 utility play. $5,800 utility. I mean,
Trey Jones or
Denny 54.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Kuzma's ankle, a very bad ankle sprain. Right. I don't know.
I kind of like Denny there. So we can go with that then. We'll go, and we'll obviously gives us $400 to play around if injury news or whatever kind of breaks from that spot here. The extra money doesn't really get us anywhere at center for Nurkic. So maybe let me ask you: would they sit Giannis in this matchup?
No, I think they're
looking at an 18-point spread. Does Milwaukee play tomorrow by chance?
I'm looking. That was exactly what I was going to look at. Thursday they do not. Okay. They play Friday. So
who do they play on Friday? Anybody of importance?
Utah. So they're playing tonight.
Because there are times where they just randomly sit him out. So
yeah, Karl-Anthony Towns officially
return.
back.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see. All right. So yeah, because obviously if Giannis would go out, Portis is and Brook Lopez.
I think it matters a little bit, John, because Boston won last night, so it's 2 games. And I think just playing Giannis, even like the 28 minutes, just like solidifies them to win, right?
Right.
So like,
Yep.
they want the ones. I mean, Philly and Boston are both right behind them, so I think this game matters to them.
Okay. And of course, if you didn't want to play Lillard, you could go down to any of the other guards and just open up a lot more salary. So we got Lillard, Trent, Roddy, Collins, Nurkic, Young, Reddish, and Avdia as our lineup here. $400 left over. Dylan Clemens on your playbook today will be in the Discord if you have any questions. Good luck. We'll talk to you guys later.